Girlfriend is being forced to marry someone she doesn't want to. How do I help her? July 30th, 2022. I, a 26-year-old male, was dating this girl, M, 25 years old. We had been dating for over a year, but she came from a very strict Indian family. She said she was lucky that they allowed her to work, and they would be extremely against her dating someone, that they wanted her to get married to a guy of their choice. We met at college, ended up at the same company. We had sex several times, which she said was a big no-no, so she wanted to keep it a secret, which I did. 8 months ago, out of the blue, I received a message from her. It said we were done and she didn't want me to contact her again. We hadn't had a fight. In fact, we had a romantic dinner just the night before, and yet I got this message. I called her several times, sent her texts and everything. I even planned to go to her house to talk to her but decided against it due to her family. I even tried calling some friends of hers, but they just said she had ghosted them too. I was heartbroken, and after 2 months, I decided to get back out there, but just couldn't find someone with that same spark. I had basically given up on dating and started focusing on my career, and I recently even landed a very high-paying job. I was happy, yet lonely. 3 days ago, I got a message from one of her friends. She said M was at her place and had been there for nearly a week, and she was asking to meet me. I was hesitant and asked her if she was playing a cruel joke on me after the way we broke up, to which the friend broke down crying to my surprise and said she couldn't explain over the phone. I went there and sure enough, M was sitting there. She looked thinner, a bit paler and very sad. She saw me, started crying and hugged me, and then we sat down to talk. She said her family had seen us together, and when she went home that night she was yelled at. She lives in a big joint family, so her parents, grandmom, 3 uncles and aunts and about 13 cousins live under the same roof. She said they took away her phone, prevented her from going to work or contacting anyone. They said they had pressured her into telling them how far our relationship had gone, and when it was revealed that she wasn't a virgin, her family went berserk. They shifted her to their rural village and arranged her marriage with a family friend who was 60 to 65, and when she tried to refuse, they threatened to kill her. She said she played along for a month, and that a week or so ago the marriage date was decided to be in September. She said she told her family she wanted to spend time with her to-be husband and managed to slip away, after which she took a train to get back here. I had shifted to a bigger house and wasn't on any social media, so she didn't know where I was and went to her friend. She stayed there for a few days, resting and crying, worried her family would find her before asking to meet me. I have no idea what to do here and how to proceed. I love her and I'm willing to be there for her, but I have absolutely no idea how. What legal steps can we take? Update on August 15th, 2022. So a while ago I had made a post here asking for help because Micah was being forced to marry someone she didn't want to. This is the update to that. We got married. We married in an Arya Samaj manner, which is just a way of saying we got married the fastest way possible legally, got the marriage certificate and made the legal adjustments, changing details on passport, Aadhaar card, etc. She's seeing a therapist now and is mentally better. Isn't that scared now? Her family did find out and did try to lodge a case that I was holding her against her will or that she had been brainwashed by me, but an affidavit thanks to Soysix's fantastic advice disproved all that. Her brother did send me some threats and her dad actually tried to enter my house, but in the end they had no choice but to accept it and left to go to their hometown. Me and my wife blocked them on everything and we haven't had any contact from them for a while now, so we don't think there'll be a problem anymore. Now that all the legal craziness and family drama has been dealt with, we're going to start adjusting as husband and wife. We're planning a proper wedding celebration with all our friends, who are basically our family. We'll also go on a honeymoon soon. I'm glad that things worked out as well as they could for us, and I'm going to look forward to spending the rest of my life with a fantastic woman. I'd like to specially thank some people on here before ending the update. Soysix, for taking time out from his day to give me some fantastic legal advice. Pranabis, for his great advice and suggestions. Second, and Bra, for listening to my ramblings and steering me in the right directions. Lastly, thank you to everyone who commented on my post. I read each one and they were all helpful in some way. Last update on April 8, 2023. A few months ago, I made a post asking for help as my girlfriend at the time was being forced to marry someone she didn't want to. There was a lot of messed up stuff going on, but suitable precautions were taken and we managed to stay safe for some time. However, most of you said that we were not really safe and that we had to move away and go somewhere to really be safe. In the whole process, we also ended up getting married. Some people claim that I used the situation to my advantage and not for the good of the woman I love. I'll address all this now. We moved away. I won't say where for obvious reasons, but we did, and we are not in country anymore. We have settled down in this new place nicely and already made new friends while keeping contact with the old ones. A few people were wondering what the hell I did for work, as I seem to have unlimited money. Other than saying that I work in a very select field and that it is completely legal, I won't say anything. Now, as we were out of country, I asked my wife if she'd like to get the marriage annulled if she thought it happened too soon. My communication skills are so dumb that she thought I was asking for a divorce and broke down crying. Those were a fun couple of hours. Onto the Jewishier parts of the update. Her family called up some of my friends and asked where we were. They responded with a simple, "I don't know," and they didn't at the time. One of my wife's cousins attacked someone I knew and ended up with a beating he'll never forget. Kids, it's never a good idea to attack someone who walks around with 3 bodyguards. Now, as I like to make everything about myself, how am I holding up? I have a nice house, several friends, a lot of money, and a million other blessings that I'm lucky to have. But one shines above all these. I'm married to the most beautiful woman I've ever laid eyes on. Her old energy has returned. Her happiness is back and she's breathtakingly beautiful, in every single way possible. I'm married to an absolute bombshell, not just in looks but also in personality. Wow. So yes, I'd say I'm doing pretty well too. It took some time to get settled in, but still happened relatively quickly. Overall, mood is pretty good now. We had some paranoia initially. We thought we saw some of her family members in the new place, but it was all a false alarm. I've still put every security measure I could think of in our house and I truly think we're safe now. That's all really I have to say now, and there's nothing more to update, I guess, so goodbye and thank you everyone for your support. Am I the a-hole for suggesting my wife that we kick out our daughter and son-in-law? April 3rd, 2023. So I am 55, have a daughter, 27-year-old, and she has a fiance, 26 years old, and they both live with us. My wife, 54 years old, and I always made it very, very clear to our children growing up that they were always welcome to come home and live with us if anything happened. And my daughter and her fiancé had a really hard time finding a place to live after graduating, so we arranged for her to come stay with us. Her fiancé has absolutely no family and we absolutely adore him here, so we invited him to live with us too. That was 2.5 years ago. They had one interview with an apartment last year that turned them down, but they haven't made much of an effort to move out. In fact, they're kind of freeliving and not moving anywhere in life. Our daughter really wants to do art, so she designs tattoos and sells some of her designs to a local shop, but that doesn't make a whole lot. Then our son-in-law really wants to be a movie editor, and he works part-time for a production company. They both really only make enough to cover their own expenses, health insurance, car payments, cell phone, etc., and they live here rent-free and don't seem to be doing much with their lives. They do some work, but they spend most of their time sleeping, having sex, and going out together to the movie theater. When I tried to bring this to my wife and suggest we kick them out or push them to get actually decent paying job, she was appalled and asked what was wrong with me. She told me that she is our child and he is our future son-in-law and his family too, and she said she couldn't even believe I'd suggest that. I told her I thought I was being perfectly reasonable since they aren't doing shit with themselves right now and I don't want to enable them pissing away their lives. She told me I was acting like an ass. And as far as she's concerned, they're doing just fine because they're doing what they love for work while being surrounded by supportive and loving family members. Then added a, well, mostly, at the end. I said I felt we should end the conversation and we moved on with what we were doing. Maybe it wasn't nice of me to do that, but it seriously annoys me to see my daughter wasting away at her potential while my other kids are going on to big things. Hell, her sister 4 years younger than her is in Australia right now. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I feel I should clarify something. I think it's safe to say that everyone in the situation knows that they're freeliving. My wife no doubt knows it and is ignoring it, but both of the kids no doubt know it too. They don't let us pay a single cent for any of their expenses beyond the living situation. They even pay for all their own food, toothpaste, shampoo, and soap, and they take care of every single personal expense they have. I've also heard conversations my daughter and my Sil has had with my wife and they absolutely know they're running in place in life. Also, one last thing I want to clarify is that they both have a theater subscription that's like $20 a month each for unlimited movies at a nearby movie theater, so it's not like they're irresponsibility spending money willy-nilly on movies all the time. Update. My wife and I decided to sit them down for a conversation and we asked them what their short-term and medium-term goals were. Over the course of the conversation, my daughter started crying because apparently she thought she heard me call her a loser recently, which I absolutely didn't mean to do, and they told us that they've been drowning in credit card debt. They have 5 cards and are $4K deep across them all, and they both have been going through some horrible depression. He's been on antidepressants for most of the time I've known him, and apparently she went back on hers recently and my wife and I had no idea. They both said they know they're freeliving and are disappointments and burdens and are wasting their times and wasting their prime years. I honestly was not at all expecting that. It actually made me feel horrible. I even entertained the idea of kicking them out. But they told us that they do want to move out and get real jobs and start a family at some point. I told them both I was terribly sorry if I made them feel like I didn't think much of them, or that they were losers, because I'm very proud of her and love her so much, and that I was happy to have him as a son-in-law and have my daughter be with someone who clearly respects and cherishes her. Over the past 2 weeks they've been submitting applications, and today they both got jobs at an AMC theaters nearly. They're working at the same location and are gonna go to work together, and they have their first day on Thursday. They said once they get their finances in order, they'll figure out a monthly rent they'll pay us. My wife and I told them to please keep their money since it sounds like they need it badly right now, but they insisted. I'll admit I did think they were being lazy and unmotivated at first, but I didn't realize they were in so much pain. I'm super proud of them for taking the next step and moving towards their own independence, and hopefully they'll achieve that dream of moving out and having a family soon. So yeah, that's the update. Edit. They told us that they were trying to downplay it because they were afraid we'd judge them, and collectively between the two of them, the total is closer to $6,000 in credit card debt. However, I still think it's nothing that they can't come back from, and if they both consistently work and are smart with finances, I'm sure they'll be debt-free by the end of the summer.